Welcome to our third lap around the track, as it were, of Mick and T's Sports Report here on CHCO-TV. I'm Joe Ticotsky, your host, and this is Evan McFarlane, who's my co-host. Or the co-host, actually. I'm not the host.
Right, thanks. She's downgraded on the third episode.
Sorry about that. Before we start out with our headlines segment, have I ever mentioned my little game I call the Sorry game?
I haven't heard you talk about this.
Okay.
I'm intrigued.
It's whenever I come up here, because I was just fascinated by how often people up here are always saying they're sorry. If you do, they apologize all the time.
I know where this is going.
Yeah. So whenever I get up here, usually the first stop I make is at the Atlantic Superstore in St. Stephen, get some groceries, get settled in. And what I do is I see how long it takes for the first person to say they're sorry to me from the time I enter the store. Wow. And it got to the point where it was such an easy win for me that I then started taking my cart, just lightly, like I would accidentally bump into the other person's cart, and sure enough, they're the ones that say they're sorry. Yeah, of course. So,
lovely. It'll wear off on you. You'll be doing it soon enough.
Yeah.
So,
The
sorry in advance.
The ugly American tattoo is somewhere under here, but that's my sorry game. It's a classic. All right, headlines. We did on our first episode way back, NHL updates, where we gave over-unders of what they would do, and the NHL season just gets so crazy week to week. And so we'll just read some of those, and at the end of the year, we'll follow up with how Evan did. Tampa Bay was predicted at 108.5 for points. At the halfway point, they would have ended up with 106.
Yeah, they're on pace.
Toronto is 101.5. They would end up with 98. So pretty close, a little bit low. Calgary, the people that make these are very good. Calgary was predicted at 96.5. They'd be at 94. Winnipeg was predicted at 95.5. They would end up with 88 points at this. So they're struggling a little bit. And on the flip side, Vancouver, who was picked at 90.5, would be up at 96. The Canadians are 88.5. They would end up with 84 if they kept their pace. Edmonton, who's been very hot lately, from what I've read, they were 85.5. And they'd be at 88, and even the lowly Ottawa Senators were picked at 68.5, but they'd end up at 74.
Okay.
So interesting year, and I'm sure
lots of time left.
Yeah, but so hard at the midway point. Right. All right, our next segment. Quickly, we wanted to mention the season statistics of Branden Sherrod, who sort of a local hero here. He comes up to our camp every year, a graduate of Yale University. We interviewed him for our first episode.
Friend of the show.
Yep, and he plays for Napoli Basket in Italy, and through about the halfway point, he's averaging 13.5 points and 8 rebounds a game, so pretty solid.
Pretty respectable.
Yeah, close to a double-double.
Absolutely.
Okay, since Evan is the boys' coach here at SJDA, there are some polls we looked up. The NB Hoops is an awesome website.
It's great.
So we're going to read the top 5 teams recently of each. And if I screw up a name or something, by all means, tell me how it should be pronounced. Yes. Boys AAA, number 1 is the Fredericton High Black Cats.
No surprise.
Cats spelled with a K.
For sure.
Love that.
It's a great team.
Number 2, Rothesay High School, who, of course, I used to pronounce Rothesay High School, but learned that. Number 3 is Harrison Trimble of Moncton. I think Harrison went to high school with me.
Yes.
Do you know who Harrison Trimble is?
Never met him.
Okay. Number 4, this is the best name, the Miramichi Valley Pulamoo.
Right.
Pulamoo. They're also referred to as the Fighting Salmon.
Yes.
Oh my God, that's the mic drop right there. You can't get a name better.
How American University sounding is that?
Exactly. And number 5 is Bernice McNaughton.
Based out of Moncton,
who I think she and Harrison Trimble went out in high school.
They could have.
I don't know.
That was the word on the street.
In boys AA, it's Woodstock at number 1, right over in St. George, Fundy High, the Mariners.
Yeah, they've got a great team this year. Jordy Doak doing good things with them.
Number 3 is Tantramar High of Sackville. Okay. Number 4, how's it pronounced?
St. Malachy's.
St. Malachy's.
In St. John. St. Mac for short.
Okay,
they're
number 4. And number 5, this is a tough one. From Fredericton, Ecole St. Anne Castors?
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Right on Prospect Street.
All right, right on Prospect Street.
Or Regent Street, sorry.
And the boys single A, Harvey High, no surprise there,
No,
number
that's
1.
pretty standard.
Stanley, number 2. John Caldwell of Grand Falls, number 3.
Yeah.
Petticodiac,
Yeah.
okay.
A little
number
bit of
4.
local connection there. Their coach is the brother of a local here, and their coach has actually been coaching Petticodiac for over 60 years.
Whoa,
60.
my goodness.
Ron Hooper. Yeah, he's a legend.
And number 5, Belle Isle Regional High. And at number 9, SJDA.
Yeah, it's nice.
Congrats
to
to
be, nice
you
to be
guys.
noticed. Thank you.
In the girls AAA, Fredericton is number 1, Moncton number 2. A lot of the familiar names, Leo
Yeah.
Hayes, number 3 from Fredericton. Bernice McNaughton, there she is again, from Moncton, number 4. And number 5 from
Quispamsis.
Quispamsis.
Not Quispamsis.
Kennebecasis Valley?
Kennebecasis.
Kennebecasis
Yes.
Valley High School, number 5. Girls AA, Rosse, number 1. Number 2, JMA Armstrong of Salisbury. Number 3, Fundy, once again from
Yeah.
St. George. Number 4, Woodstock High. And number 5, the Tommies of James M. Hill High School.
Great name.
I think they'd be called the Jimmies if they're James M. Hill from Miramichi.
Yes.
In girls single A, Harvey High, once again, no surprise at number 1. Caledonia, number 2. Number 3, the Celtics from Canterbury High School.
Good. It's a move up.
Number 4, Petticodiac Regional. And number 5, Heartland High School. And Evan's team, you're about to clinch a playoff spot, as are the girls, which is, we've been asking around, and sort of hard to lock down the history, but a lot of people think it's the first time the boys and girls will both make the playoffs in the same season.
I wouldn't say it's probably not the first time, but it's the first time in a very, very long time. Like we're probably talking 30 years or so.
Okay,
That's the progression of the sport in this town. Like we've seen it pick back up in the last 5, 6, 10 years, and it's nice that it's starting to pay off. The kids have worked really hard this year, so it's great. The town's getting behind them big. And yeah, we're looking forward to the run down the stretch for sure.
Yeah, that's
It's exciting.
great.
It's exciting in town right now.
That is great. In this MB Hoops poll, they do a really good website.
It's a lot of fun to read.
Yeah, I mean, I'm back in Connecticut, and I could stay up on everything, and they have ratings and things like
They
that.
follow
So,
past players who have moved on to other parts of their adventure in university playing now. They kind of highlight them, so it's
Great.
neat. It's really cool.
okay, that's it for our headlines segment. Next up is going to be an interview that I did with the SJDA grade 12 boys and girls basketball players, which sort of sheds some light on their careers as it's winding down. So that will be coming up next. This is Mick and T's Sports Report on CHCO-TV. Coming up next on Mick and T's Sports Report is an interview I did, a group interview with the grade 12 basketball players from the boys and girls team at Sir James Dunn Academy as they're winding down their high school careers. So we hope you enjoy it. I'm here with the 3 grade 12 senior girls players from Sir James Dunn Academy. To my right is Brooke Reed, and to my left is Gwen Pearson and Marie Meise, who is from Germany, and we'll find out a little bit about that later on. So we're just going to ask them some general questions, and they can give us their thoughts on the team. How many years have you been on the senior team?
I started in grade 8, so this is my 5th year.
I just joined this year. It's my first year playing basketball.
And it's my 2nd year on the team.
Okay, so nice mix year-wise. What are your, after you get done playing here and graduating from here, what are your plans for next year academically?
I'm thinking about Dalhousie University and possibly taking sciences, but I'm not quite exactly sure yet, but that's kind of my general plan.
Brooke's one of those smart kids that we don't relate to very well, but she's a tremendous student athlete. And what are your plans for next year?
I'm planning on going to St. Mary's University and doing just a Bachelor's of Science and a certificate in forensics.
And St. Mary's is located?
It's in Halifax. It's like 10 minutes from Dal.
And what are your plans for next year?
I'm planning on going back to Germany to go to university and study medicine.
Excellent. And the part of Germany you're from, what's the name of the town?
It's called Eisenach.
And it is in the central part of Germany, which for those of you that go way back, it's right about where, when there used to be a West Germany and an East Germany, two different countries, it sort of splits it right down there. And we've had a number of German girls, exchange students over the years here at the school, which really adds to the experience. What other sports, Brooke, do you play?
I play soccer and volleyball, cross country, and badminton.
How's that pronounced again?
Badminton?
Yes, we call it badminton. We just silent N. And what other sports have you played here?
I play soccer and volleyball.
And I know back in Germany, there's not really school sports. Is that correct?
Yes, we have more clubs that we go after school.
And what sports did you play back in Germany?
In Germany, I played handball, which is not really common here in Canada, and volleyball and badminton.
Okay. A couple of things about sports which we like is everyone plays for a different reason. What's something you enjoy about being on a team in general, whether it's this team or the volleyball team or the badminton team?
What I really like about sports, and specifically at SJDA, is that because we're a single A school, we have not just a grade 10 and 9 team and then grade 11 and 12. We have a whole variety, plus we often have grade 8s on the team, so it really allows me to make connections with everyone in high school. And I started playing sports back in grade 8 to meet other people in the school because I didn't have social media at that age, so it was kind of my way of meeting everyone else and making connections with other people.
So it was way back in the years where there was no social media. Who can imagine? Who would you say is the funniest player on the team?
Probably Peyton. During our practice, she constantly dances. I don't think I've ever seen her serious.
That was going to be my next question. Was going to be who's the best dancer on the team?
Definitely her.
You ever bust out any German dances?
No, I'm not much of a dancer.
Okay. At this point, we're going to switch over gears a little bit, and we're going to interview the boys' side, where they have 4 grade 12 players. And one thing we like to mention with the girls and the boys, for the first time in what we think is about 30 or 40 years, both teams have qualified for the playoffs, which will be coming up a week after their regular season ends, which is a tremendous accomplishment for both teams in a small school like this. So we'd like to thank Brooke, Gwen, and Marie for joining us, and we'll be back with some of the boys from the grade 12 team. And now the boys' grade 12 members of the senior SJDA team, we'd like to mention that in the girls' portion of the interview, which we forgot, Signa Anderson, who is ill today, could not make the interview, so we hope she's feeling better. I'm here with the 5 senior grade 12 players on the team: Logan Carter, Simon Clark, you guys can give little waves, they know who's who, Elias Eldridge, Tyler Dolan, and Jonah Hanley. And how many years have you been on the senior team?
It's been 5 years now, since grade 8.
Actually, this is just my first year.
It's been 5 years for me.
This is actually my 3rd year.
And it's also my 5th year.
So a lot of experience on the team for 3 players that are 5-year members of the team. What are your potential plans after you get out of SJDA, academic-wise, college?
I'm attending Dalhousie University, and I'm taking up a recreation management program they have, so you can get 2 different degrees and everything.
I'm intending to go to either Mount Allison or Dalhousie and get a Bachelor of Arts and hopefully a Bachelor of Education to become a teacher as well.
Sure you want to be a teacher?
Kind of, yeah.
It's an awesome field.
I'm planning on attending Dalhousie University, and I'm going to take microbiology and immunology.
At the time, I plan on attending UNB Fredericton. I've already been accepted there, and I'm going to go into kinesiology and recreation with sports studies, and hopefully eventually become a high school teacher as well.
I plan on going to McMaster or Queens for engineering.
And I think, as with the girls' team, one of the reasons for the team's success is you have 5 players here that are all good students, academically, and that definitely transfers over to the court. Makes it easier for Evan and Aaron when they're coaching, and just to have kids that can pick up things quickly. If you could sort of pinpoint, like during your career, was there like a memorable win that you had?
There's a few. I'd say there's one we had in a tournament in Grand Manan against, I believe it was, what was the name of that team? Ticotsky. They were ranked top 3 in the province, I believe, and at the time we were probably around 10th, and we beat them by a good amount, like 15 or so, and won the whole tournament. That was big for us.
Any others of you guys, or is that?
I would say one of the defining moments for me was the tournament we won in Chipman. It was really a turning point in our season, and from then on, our season just got that much better.
What are some of the biggest, and you're a first-year player, but what are some of the biggest improvements you've seen on the team from, say, like the start of the year back in November till now?
Some of the improvements that I've seen is confidence with a lot of our younger players. They're playing to a significantly better degree, and it's not because they're better players, which they are, but it's because they trust more in themselves and they trust that they can do good because they can do good, and they're playing to a really good level now.
Any improvements that you've seen?
Same thing that Logan said. Just their level of confidence has gone up hugely. And it's great to see because young players often feel like they should pass the ball when they have a wide open shot, but knowing that they can take that shot and having confidence in themselves will make them go so much farther.
I think the younger kids, when they get out on the court, they feel like they have to prove themselves. But I think throughout the course of the season, they've learned that really making a good pass that gets a basket is way better than taking a terrible shot trying to prove yourself. So I think they've developed a maturity in that sense throughout the season.
And see, if you're in the States, your parents would be in the stands just yelling, shoot it, every time you touch the ball. So a pass would not even be part of the equation there. A couple other quick questions. Who would you say is the best dancer on the team?
No way. No.
Oh, we're not going to ask you to do anything now.
I'm still.
Okay, all right.
And you have a mean worm, though.
That's it.
He does have a very mean worm.
Oh, yeah. Even if they're not good, they're just...
Now, who would you say out of Evan and Aaron, like when things come to a boil, who's got the worst temper?
Aaron.
Really?
Seriously?
I'd go Evan. I think
Aaron.
Evan's more low-key about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Aaron has those sarcastic comments throughout.
Evan's like the silent assassin.
Yeah.
I feel like Evan is quicker to get angry, but his level of angry is significantly less than Aaron's.
So at its peak, Aaron's can do more damage. All right, as we mentioned before, these guys, along with the girls, have made the playoffs, which is a phenomenal accomplishment. They think it's the first time in over 30 years that both teams have made it in the same year. And I saw them last night play for the first time in about 2 years, and I was just amazed at the level of play and confidence, whereas before everything seemed to have to be done in 10 seconds, and now if they go through a little bit of a lull, they know there's a very balanced team. And you can tell, I think a senior-dominated team really is a good recipe for success throughout. So we'd like to thank our 5 grade 12 players, Logan, Simon, Elias, Tyler, and Jonah. And hopefully you guys enjoy the interview when it's on, and have fun on your last home game.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed that interview. Thanks for doing that, Joe. That was really well done. Those kids have been a treat to work with over the last few years, and this next couple weeks winding down is going to be tough, but I'm glad you touched on that. Thank you.
They're a fun group to work with. Coming up next, we have a new segment with a new special guest, so you're going to have to stay tuned to see. It's a music quiz where Evan and I go head-to-head based on our eras. Because I'm a little older than him. And our quiz master will be here to join us after the break. This is Mick and T's Sports Report. Welcome back to Mick and T's Sports Report. we have a new segment that we are calling Music Quiz. Not very original, but.
Oh, man.
And we have a third person here. She wore her Canadian red, so I feel outnumbered already.
Yes, 2-1 already. I'm winning.
To my right is Amelia Welch, who's lived in town for how long? Forever.
My entire
Her
life,
entire
19
life.
years.
She played for me in basketball at the high school. You may know her on television from doing the local bingo shows.
Bingo.
And this is her next career. She doesn't know it yet, but this is her next career. So what I did was I ran off a bunch of charts from Billboard magazine. I used the years 1991 to 1993 for
Oh, man.
Evan.
I'm going to destroy this. It's going to be awful.
How old are you then?
7. Well, 5 to 7.
Okay.
But I'm a 90s music guy in theory, but I'm more like a Shazam person. If I hear it, I'm going to know what it is. But it's going to be a struggle.
Already.
I know, I'm trying.
And mine will be taken from the year 74 to 76.
In which he was 55.
I was not born yet, but I've heard it was a pretty good music era. So Amelia will read us the name of the song and the only number 1 songs, and then we'll tell her who sang it, hopefully. All yours.
We'll tell her something.
All right, so I will start off with Joe. So, The Way We Are.
The Way We Are? Can you read
Yeah.
that again, please?
Sorry, The Way We Were.
Yes, The Way We Were.
Oh.
Okay.
It's because he wrote the questions. It's not even fair.
So much for that career. That was Barbara Streisand.
Very good.
The Way We Were.
All right, moving on to Evan. For Evan, Joyride.
I don't know.
Can you give him a hint?
Can you sing it?
Oh, I don't even know this one.
I don't know. Can I phone a friend?
That one was Roxette.
You went in 93 for him, so it's a little bit later.
Okay.
Wow, so I told you this is great.
For Joe, The Locomotion.
The Locomotion. Okay, I know this is a remake, because originally, I didn't know that. I thought this is the original. I thought it was a 60s. I know it's a 60s song originally. Grand Funk Railroad.
Well, you were right. Brent was Grand Funk. That was all you needed. So
This is so much fun.
we'll make this a little bit easier for Evan. We'll move on to 1993, and The Way I Will Always Love You. Sorry, I Will Always Love You.
And I will always love you. It's not good, man. Celine Dion.
No, close. Whitney Houston.
I give him credit because he sang
You
that.
did. We will give you a point for
He
singing it.
sang that live.
Half a point. All right, 3-2.
Kung Fu Fighting for Joe.
This song is so good. It was one of my sister's favorite songs growing up. And this guy was a one-hit wonder. Those cats were fast as lightning. Carl Douglas.
Very good. So it looks like Joe is taking the win by a
Do you know
landslide.
the term dormy? It's a golf term for like when you're playing and it's if there's more points that you need to earn than there is holes left. So I'm in dormy right now. If I get this, I'm just going to accept the fact that I owe you a coffee.
Well, maybe to switch, maybe I could ask Evan a question from the song list that you have.
No, let's just keep going. Let's see how bad this really gets.
Dream Lover.
Yeah, no, so we should have gone with James category.
Give him a 70s song.
Okay.
I'm gonna throw the white towel.
Nothing from Nothing.
No, we're done. Nothing.
Actually, we're going to go on, since we're down near the end, a minute and a half total.
Okay.
We're going to turn the tables a little bit and ask Amelia. I ran off a chart from like the end of the year, and I'm
How
like,
bad
never
could it
heard
be?
them, never
That's
heard of them.
right. Just a year.
Exactly. You get one right, and you're second place. The song is called Happier.
Oh, this is Pharrell Williams.
I believe it's the man named Marshmello
Oh.
with Bastille.
Oh, no. Okay.
How'd you not get that?
I
one?
know,
Jeez.
darn.
That's embarrassing.
Okay, I will give
Embarrassing
you
for
one more. Girls Like You.
Oh, dear. Girls like I can picture
Oh,
what it sounds
half
like.
a point. We're tied.
It's a group with a female. She's very outspoken, loves bringing attention to herself.
Oh dear. No, I don't know what it is. I'm completely drawing a
Maroon
blank.
5 and Cardi B.
Oh, Cardi B. Yeah.
Well, I know. I'm going to come up here and play music trivia
Yeah, I
next
bet.
time I'm up here.
We're going to have the actual songs next time.
Yeah.
That's
Hear
right.
them.
That would be very
That was
helpful.
rough. I
We'll add
apologize
to
for
it.
that.
But I appreciate Evan being a good sport. I'm like a music nerd with that kind of stuff, but
Yep.
I still can't.
This is hurt.
Okay. All right. Now we're going to finish up with the last words of the day. Why don't you give your shout outs because we're really short on time.
Yeah, just another guy who reached out to me last night and was another one of those ones like, you have a show you're filming this week, why don't I get shout outs? Is buddy Patrick Crabb that I graduated with. We always talk sports. He was just giving me a hard time, so can't say I didn't do anything for you.
There you go. All right, we'd like to thank Amelia Welch for joining us on what we hope was a fun segment of our
Yeah, it was a blast.
our
thanks.
third shot at trying to get this right.
Thanks
So
for
as we
having
always
me.
say, we'd like to thank Patrick Watt and David Welch for their work behind the scenes. We're going to go break down the tape once again, look for mistakes. God knows there were some there.
Listen to some music.
Exactly, and we'll get ready
That's
for our
right.
next episode. I'm Joe Ticotsky.
I'm Evan McFarlane.
And I'm Amelia Welch.
Thanks for joining us on Mick and T's Sports Report on CHCO-TV.